Yeah, hi, I am Prasanta from Sri Lanka. I am working in Alassana Travel Agency. So Sri Lanka, it's a beautiful country with a lot of nature, lot of traditional things included this country. All can see you in this country. So now I am in a very special. So the Kalutara Bodhi, it is sacred tree. It is considered to be one of the 32 shoots of the Jayashrima Bodhi in Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka. So now let's see the Vihara Mandira and Lord Buddha statue with frescoes. So this is the call in Vihara Mandira. Now I'm entering to the Vihara Mandira.
Can you describe a bit to us what we see, presenter?
Yeah, here you can see the our Lord Buddha's statue. It is called in Bhumi Sparsha Mudra statue. We have this kind of lot of shape of Buddhist statue with different shapes. There is a very special fresco, and before enlightenment, Lord Buddha name was Prince Siddharth. This fresco about his born, and that day they had a very special miracle. So that day, Prince of Siddharth, when he born, yeah, you can see those the 7 lotus flowers. There's a 7 lotus flowers came from the earth. It is a special miracle that day. So memorizing Lord Buddha's born. This paint was the very special paint. After the enlightenment, Lord Buddha, he had the first food from the Sujata. So it was milk rice food offering for the Lord Buddha after the enlightenment. And this is another special fresco. Jai Sri Ram Bodhi is a sacred tree in the Mahamevuna Gardens, Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka. Also, it was bought to Sri Lanka by Sanghamitta Theri, the daughter of Indian Emperor Ashoka. Picture about our special sacred tree, Jai Sri Ram Bodhi, it's in Anuradhapura. And this is the very special fresco for Sri Lanka. When Thera Mahinda came to Sri Lanka, that time King was Devanand Piyatissa. He was the and now you can see some of our Buddhist people came to Sri Lanka offering flowers and memorizing Lord Buddha and his blessings and about what he chant for the people, spirit. So they are praying. So now I'm going to the out of this Buddha Mandir. Yeah, this is the very special oil lamp. We are saying Dolas Mahe oil lamp in Sinhalese. Dolas mean 12. Masa mean month. It means 12 month. This is oil. This oil lamp is lighting between all the year long. This oil lamp lighting because the people are every time putting the oil into this lamp every time. So it is burning every time. So then it's all the year long. It's lighting like this. So in front of me now you can see it's calling pagoda. It means stupa. this is the Buddhist flag with blue color, yellow color, and red, white, and orange mix. And also this temple of Kalutara is located just after the bridge, and also it is Colombo Gala main road, so that's why you can see the vehicles and also the sounds of the vehicles, you can hear that. And this is temple both side of the road. And a lot of people are stopped their vehicles on the way to Colombo or Gal sites to get the blessings. And they are stopped vehicles here, then they are getting blessings to protect from the vehicle and their protections, and also the blessings for all the people.
Thank you very much, Prasanta. I think we will let you go to the market and move on to the second part of the visit, if that's all right with you. So now, now everyone, we will just jump to another part of Sri Lanka, where we will join Emmanuel and Naduni. They must be waiting for us. So let me put them on screen. Hey, Emmanuel. I don't think he can hear me. Yes, Naduni, here you are.
Okay. Hello. Yes. Okay. So, Ayubowan. Hello, everyone. I'm Naduni. I'm from Malala Lanka Travel Agency. So, today I'm going to take you a small tour in my village temple. So, let's go. So, firstly, I would like to tell you that there are some rituals we follow when entering into a temple. Especially, we have to wear white color and we can't wear any caps. And the other thing is we have to remove our shoes. No matter you are wearing slippers or shoes, it's the socks, you have to remove them. It's same for everyone. So now let's enter after removing the shoes. And this temple, the name is Angurukaramula temple. Also, we called it Bodhi Raja Ramaya. It's a pretty long word, but it's in Sinhala. So let's enter to the temple now. We are today lucky to meet a monk. We can meet one of the monk in this temple. So let's go to him first and then I'll start showing you around. Oh, අපි මේ පන්සලේ පොඩි වීඩියෝ එකක් කරන්න ආවා. එහෙම. ඉතින් එන්නම් එහෙනම්. Okay, so this is one of the monk in the temple. So let's go. It's a habit for us to worship each and every monk that we meet. It's a habit from our childhood. We never pass a monk without worshipping or talking to him, especially in a temple. And even when we are outside, we really respect monks very much. So here you can see the temple, and normally after entering into the temple, when we are doing rituals, we have to wash our hands and we bring flowers and oil and incense sticks. We have to spray some water to flowers, and there are some rituals to do. But today, I'm not ready for the rituals. Of course, we have a very limited time. So I'm just going to show you how we do this. And here you can see this is the boundary of our temple. And here they have written some flags in Sinhala. So there it says, Setnitu Mahatage Siyaluma Grahapala Dureva. In English, they are just wishing this man to get rid of all his diseases and his bad things. We just believe when we hang some things like this, when everybody read it, it will be a blessing for him to have a healthy life. When we have a disease or something, we do this. So, you can see a nice Buddha statue, which is gold plated. So, and here around you can see the place where we wash our hands. And normally when we come to the temple, after offering flowers, we go and put a pot of water to the bo tree. We walk around the bo tree 7 times in right direction, and then we pour water to the bo tree. We do that because we think from that we can have a more and more healthy, peaceful life. So it's the purpose. And there's another thing. This bo tree, we believe it as the tree which helped our Lord Buddha to attain enlightenment. He had it enlightenment under this tree. And even Lord Buddha, he has done thanksgiving for like 7 weeks continuously to the bo tree. So in Anuradhapura, we are having the oldest tree of the world, and we believe that it's the original part of the bo tree which Lord Buddha attained enlightenment. So as Buddhists, for us, it's really happy and a blessing for us to go to Anuradhapura temple. So now let's go and see the stupa. So now we are moving to there, and regarding the stupa, I would like to tell you the reason why we have built the stupa. Normally, after the death of a monk, like Lord Buddha or one of his followers, we are not burying him under the soil. We just burn the body. So after burning, there are some parts which was left. So we believe in every stupa there is something like relic. We call it sacred relic. So there's a relic which has been kept inside the stupa. So for example, Temple of the Tooth, I think you all have heard about it. It's the very special thing because we believe tooth of relic of our Lord Buddha is placed inside the Temple of the Tooth in Kandy. So let's have a look about the stupa. In my village temple, there is some special feature in the stupa because there's a small stupa inside a big stupa that cannot be seen in every temple. So we had to climb a little bit of stairs. And here now we entered inside the stupa. So you can see some worshippers, they have kept some flowers, water for stupa. And I want to tell you regarding the flowers, we always prefer to choose white color flowers. And when we are picking the flowers from the tree, if they fell down, we never use it to offer. We always put it away and we select the best flowers to offer. So here you can see the stupa. And we can just have a quick look around. You will see many beautiful statues, carvings are there. Each carving is having a different story from the history. They have made 100 years ago and they have repaired several times. And some pictures on the walls are not clear, of course, now. So all around the stupa, you can see different carvings like this. They have been protected with something made of metal for not to touch. Okay, so let's go outside from here.
Naduni, there was a small question.
Yeah.
Ildiko was asking if the temples are open all days and nights.
Yeah, usually temples are open, of course, because with the situation, it was a little bit different with Corona and everything. They were not allowed to come, but usually it was open from ancient time because sometimes people used to travel far, and if it is night time, they don't have a place to stay. But normally, temple is always there to stay for them. They can. There's a common place where the monks come and tell some. We call them like. Mantra, and they give some advices. There is a common place in the temple, so people can go there. Of course, there's no bed, but they can just stay there and spend their night and go back on the other day. So temples used to be open 24 hours.
Okay, thank
Is
you.
that fine? Okay, Rekha. So now we're going to move to the inside, and at the entrance you can see a mouth of a big evil's mouth, and they are telling the reason as they has been built it to let to the bad spirits to go away. So what the belief is, only the people with the good deeds can enter, something like that. So here you can see the Buddha statues, and you can see many beautiful carvings all around. And of course, today you can't see many flowers, but if you come on a Poya day, you will not find a place to keep your flowers. It will be full with the flowers because there are many worshipping people who come and offer flowers. And each and every person, they bring some flower and kept it here. So this is the first place we are coming and worshipping after we enter to the string room. So around the pictures from I don't know whether you can get it clearly. If you can remember that I explained, our Lord Buddha was giving thanks to the Bo tree for 7 weeks. So these pictures represent those 7 weeks, what he did. For example, first day he was just sitting there and meditating. Second day he was standing and looking at the tree without closing his eyes. And third day he was moving from here to there with a meditation. So like that, he has spent 7 weeks under the bo tree to show his gratitude to the bo tree. And here in the first picture, if you can see, it was not an easy moment for now. This is of course the Lord Buddha, but for this moment he is not a Lord Buddha. He is just in his normal life. So the same day that his new baby, his one and only baby was born, he decided to leave his home and to go to forest to seek the truth. So you can see the situation. He didn't even come to see the baby. He at the door he decided, today I will leave my home and go to seek the truth. It's a long story. There are some sad things, some nice things. So each and every story, each and every picture we have a big story. Of course, I can't tell everything, but here you can see our Lord Buddha, the moment that he got into his new life, he just cut off his hair, he removed all his royal clothes, and he just wear only a orange color cloth. And there's a saying that the horse which he had, he also died with sadness that he was not able to leave the Lord Buddha alone. So he has died on the same day. We have beliefs like that. And so on. So there, every picture is having a big story, really interesting. So one day, if you are able to visit here, we will be there to explain you if you are interested. So let's go inside again. And this is not a really happy moment. This statue represents the moment which Lord Buddha passed away. You can see everybody is not in a happy mode. They are just there to worship him. And even the gods in upper area, you can see the gods. They have come to show their gratitude and to worship him before he buried. Okay, so that's it about the temple. So I can
Thank you very much, Naduni. Let's switch back to Prasanta. Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Hey, Prasanta, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you are on the fruits and vegetable market, right?
Yeah, local vegetable market.
Okay, we can start the tour there then.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Prasanta back to again with live program. So now I'm in local vegetable. So Sri Lanka cuisines is known for its particular combination of herbs, spice, fish, vegetable, rice and fruits. So these all included when you are preparing the foods. And we have two main groups of vegetable growing in Sri Lanka. So upcountry area and low country area, depend with the weather type. In this shop, this vegetable, you can see the Sri Lankan low countryside vegetable, like lady fingers, radish, and also snake grout, and also the flower of banana. This is a coconut shop, coconut selling shop. You can see how the people come into shops and how they are selecting the coconuts. This customer, you can see how he choosing the good coconut. He is shaking, and when he is shaking that coconut, it should be the some good sound of the water sounds inside of the coconut. So then it's good coconut, and also it should be the dry. And this is shop kind of sweet and kind of jaggery and kind of pepper things mixing.
Prasanta, can you tell us how to choose a good coconut?
Yeah, when we are selecting the coconut, I will show you that place again. When we are selecting the coconut, it should be the some gray color, look like gray color, not should be the light color of the coconut. And when they are choosing good coconuts, you can see that person also, he is looking at and he is hearing like this sound. You can see. And there's a vegetable like brinjals, ladyfinger, radish, and cucumber, and manioc. And here you can see the dry fish seller. He's selling the dry fish. And here you can see the selling banana. And we have in Sri Lanka 29 several kind of banana varieties. 29 varieties of banana we have in Sri Lanka.
Prasanth, can you tell us how to eat dried fish?
Yeah, we can eat dry fish as a curry. It's we can cooking with it with coconut milk, and also we can use as a gray. It's been just cooking with oil. We can eat the fish, dry fish.
Okay, thank you.
And here garlic chop, and also the potatoes and onion. Garlic, it's really good for the also cholesterol burn, and it is also the burn in the fat, the garlic. It's used in Ayurveda also, a lot of garlic. There's a lot of healthy benefits from the garlic. There's a chili, fresh chili. As a Sri Lankan, we use a lot of chilies when we have food. And we have some special fruits in Sri Lanka. Depending the different season, some fruits we have a special season for that. Like example, mango season we have especially May to September. So that time we can have a lot of mangoes in Sri Lanka. And also the jackfruit, it is our main national fruit in Sri Lanka, jackfruit. It is, we can see March to September, this kind of fruits. So now I am in a very special shop. It is a spice shop, because of a very important place as a Sri Lankan, this shop, because of especially we use a lot of spices when we are preparing the foods. There is a lot of spices like cinnamon, cardamom, and also the pepper, chill powder, and also the garlic, tamarind, coriander, ginger. Like that, there is a lot of spices we have, especially spices for the cooking time we use. And you can see there they have packed some chili powders, grinding chili powders. Kurundu kali dinade? Yeah.
Cinnamon powder. Cinnamon powder.
Here you can see some cinnamon sticks. So I got from this shop.
Can you tell us, Prasanta, what is the most popular dish among locals in Sri Lanka, please?
Yeah, especially we eat a lot of people. They mostly eat the rice and curry. So every person like to eat rice. So it is include with some curry dishes. Not only rice. With 3-4 curries with rice we eat. It means rice and curry is the main dishes. Yep. And if I explain about cinnamon, that special spice, it's created from the inner bark of the cinnamon tree. Especially we can see this as dried strip and also as a powder. It is also good for the fat burn, and it's help also the weight lose, and also the control sugar level, and also it's good for the blood pressure, and also the lot of who has a cholesterol level high, so they use also to burn the cholesterol level with cinnamon sticks as preparing curry, and sometimes as a cinnamon tea and cinnamon powder like that.
Thank you very much, Prasanta. I think we will move to the Negombo Fish Market. Thank you a lot for showing us all of this.
Okay, thank you, dear. Thank you all of you.
So now we will go back with the Olala Lanka team, and they are at the famous Negombo Fish Market. So yes, here they are. Hey, Nimesha.
Hi, everyone. So welcome to Negombo. So this is a fish market, but in Negombo we have 3 main fish markets. So you know Sri Lanka is an island, but Negombo Fish Market is the largest hub, fisheries hub in Sri Lanka. So we have 3 fish markets, as I told you, and all these 3 fish markets are maintained by the church. That is really special. And Negombo is called as Little Rome, because it's mainly the Catholic people live here. And out of 3 fish markets, one is wholesale market. If you want to visit wholesale market, you have to go around 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. Because they are operating at that time, because to avoid the transport issues making due to heavy traffic. And this market is the second largest in Negombo, where you can visit. The ideal time would be 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. because now you can see it's empty, but we can have some beautiful ladies here. We will introduce them to you. And before that, I would like to ask a small question from y'all. Negombo catamaran, there's a big relationship with that. So I want you to guess the relationship, and if you know that, I will ask you to answer it at the end of this video. Okay, let's go. So
normally this area will be full of fishermen, and you can see a lot of fish and prawns, crabs, and a lot of variety of seafood, which are really fresh. Because here you can see fresh fish just taken from sea, from small boats caught by maybe using the net or the line. And even from the wholesale market, they are bringing it to here and selling. So you can see a beautiful piece of tuna. And we have some prawns just from sea, and even from the lagoon. You can have fish and prawns from the lagoon also here, but unfortunately we are not at the correct time. But if you are visiting here around 6 a.m., between 6 and 11, it will be a great time to discover a lot of fish, and it will be really busy, of course. But Negombo people will help you to have a beautiful tour here. It is little bit fishy, smelly, but I know you will enjoy. So one more thing I want to tell, that we say Negombo fish we found here, it's really fresh. The main reason for that is they are not taking leftover fish again to the second day. There's a small secret on that. They use the leftover fish to make dry fish, and Negombo dry fish, it's really special. The reason all over the country there's a big demand to dry fish. And I would like to say, these ladies from Negombo, they are really good at cooking fish, and they have their secret ingredient, secret recipe. If you want to try the best Negombo fish curry, it's the best place to come to near the beach side. They are really good at that. And in Sri Lanka, Negombo is very famous for this fish curries also, because in around the country there you can't find such recipes and such a way of using spices. It's only in Negombo. And before a few minutes before we start the this live, I saw some live crabs. They were live and they were tied with strings. Unfortunately, the seller has gone home. So now we will move to the dry fish place. Hello, everyone. So we have a lady here who is selling and waiting to sell her last portions. So with this beautiful sunset, now we are moving to the place where the Negombo people dry their leftover fish. So you can see it's a big area, and they have put some polythene, plastic of course, on the ground, and they lay their fish, leftover fish, with some kind of salt and vinegar recipe, and they keep it under the sun for several days, and they prepare their dry fish. And I would like to say that the dry fish from Negombo, it's really tasty, as I told you again. And Sri Lankans, actually, they really like to have their meals with dry fish. We will move a little bit forward, so maybe we will be able to see some fish drying under the sun. You can see people taking salt to prepare dry fish. So this is a good place. This is the way how they prepare dry fish. So you can see halfly dried dry fish over here, and people bringing down some fish to make dry fish. Here, Negombo dry fish. So I hope you can hear the music which they are enjoying to forget their tiredness. So, it's a hard work, but with the music, I think they are enjoying. Okay. So, as I told you, from Negombo throughout the island, we are transporting fish, fresh fish, as well as the dry fish. Mainly big boats, big lorries are used for that. And even for the export market, Negombo is famous. In the wholesale market, there are options taken in the evening, and in the morning they are distributing throughout the island, and even to the exporting purposes also. So Negombo, you can have a wonderful view with these beaches, long beaches, which is really beautiful. And to witness a sunset, beautiful sunset in Negombo, it's really special. You have to try it. So as I'm originally from Negombo, and I have lived here all of my lifetime, I really enjoy beaches with this type of view. Of course, you can enjoy. So I asked a question beginning of my session. So do we have any answers?
Well, unfortunately, it looks like it's a big guess, so we do not have any right answer. So I invite you to tell us the answer, please.
Okay, so catamarans, you all know, right? So catamarans, I hope we will be able to see one or two in the sea, but let's hope. Yes, the catamarans, the name of the catamaran, it's originally from Negombo, which came from the Tamil word Kattumaram. Kattumarans means the tree stem tied with the rope. Okay, so with that Kattumaram, finally it became the catamaran. So this catamaran's name, it's originally from Negombo, and it's ours. I think we are really proud to have to give that name to catamaran. So it's really unique to Negombo. So in catamaran, you can see ones with big float, which is using with the wind, which is helping to go far. So that is called Oruva Sinhala. But also we have catamarans without the sail, without the big float, which is called the Teppama in Sinhala. So with a paddle, they are using it to go sea to catch fish.
Thank you very much, Nimesha. We had a question not regarding the fish, but Fanny was asking if there are some dialects in Sri Lanka, depending on the different regions.
I couldn't get you.
Oh, sorry. I was asking if there were some dialects in Sri Lanka, depending on the different regions.
Not recently. No, actually, I can't say no, not recently. If I'm getting it correctly, you're asking about like conflicts, is it?
No, I mean dialects, like small languages that people use locally.
With the religion, is it?
Not necessarily.
No, we have different kind of types with different kind of languages used in our. Yes. So Nadine helped me with the answer. So dialects, yes, in south and north, and in Negombo also, yeah, we have some differences. Even in Sinhala, Tamil, and even it's mainly depend on the accents. So there are some different birds that they are particularly for different areas? Yes, so we have. Am I clear with my answer?
Yes, all good. Thank you, Nimesha.
Welcome. So let's move to the sunset. You will see a beautiful view with a lot of clouds flying.
Thank you very much for this view. Would you like to say a quick word, Nimesha, about some association that Olala Lanka supports?
Of course, Olala Lanka, we are working with some students in France, and we are going to help a school in Mana, Nambikke. The word Tamil word means the belief. So this school is for differently able people, and Olala Lanka, we are happy to partnership with that school to help them.
Thank you very much. Well, see you girls. Thank you a lot for this visit, and I will quickly move to Stefan talking to us about another association. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Stefan. So to end this live, would you like to tell us a bit about the association you also support? I think you're mute. Just unmute yourself.
Yes, hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, good.
Okay, good. If possible in French, because I will express better in French what is the association. It's okay for you?
Yeah, I will translate it afterwards.
Ok, sure. Thank you. Oui, donc l'association que nous avons créée s'appelle Allocataire, puisque le nom de l'agence c'est Allocasana, et nous avons voulu faire un clin d'œil à Allocasana en l'appelant Allocataire. Bon, en anglais c'est difficile d'avoir les jeux de mots, mais Allocataire, ben voilà, signifie que, en clair, c'est une association qui est surtout à but environnemental et humanitaire. En fait, l'association a été créée suite à différents voyages qui ont été effectués avec des voyageurs, et ils ont souhaité créer ensemble une association qui vienne en aide au Sri Lanka, et en particulier à l'environnement, à la nature et aux enfants, en particulier d'un orphelinat de jeunes filles au Sri Lanka. Donc ce que nous avons fait, une des premières actions que nous avons fait, c'est là, concrètement sur le terrain, on a complètement rénové des douches pour des jeunes filles de l'orphelinat là, et c'est encore c'est en phase d'être fini en ce moment. Donc on mène vraiment, nous, à travers l'association Allocataire, des actions concrètes sur le terrain en ce moment.
Ok, merci. Donc je vais rapidement traduire.
Oui.
So Stefan, with other partners, has built an association called Allocataire, which is an association about environment and nature, but they do concrete actions such as recently they helped rebuilding showers in a girls' orphan, for example. So these kind of actions they take, and so I will put the links about the two associations that were mentioned at the end of this live in the event. So thank you all for following, and see you soon.